Faith that moves mountains begins with a question, a quiet question, a deep question. Why is it that some people walk through the deserts of life and still reach extraordinary outcomes, while others remain stuck, year after year, trapped in cycles of pain, fear, and lack? This question is not just a thought. It is not just curiosity. It is a calling for you to pause, to listen, to reflect on the invisible power that already lives within you. The Word of God is not distant. It is not locked in the past. It is not reserved for a few special people. The Word is alive. The Word is present. And today, it is speaking directly to you, right now. In the early decades of the 20th century, in New York City, during a time of financial collapse, uncertainty, and fear, a woman named Florence Scovel Shinn dared to teach something radical. She taught that simple faith, not complicated faith, not perfect faith, but simple faith, could change destinies. At a time when many were losing everything, jobs, homes, hope, Florence opened her home and shared spiritual truths that transformed ordinary lives. People burdened by debt, people weakened by illness, people crushed by disappointment. They came searching for answers, and they found something powerful. They discovered that faith was not meant to be passive. Faith was meant to be applied. Florence did not speak about distant theories. She did not offer empty inspiration. She spoke about practical spiritual principles that anyone could use, principles that worked then, principles that still work now. One of those principles is found in the words of Jesus, in Matthew chapter 17, verse 20. Jesus said that faith the size of a mustard seed is enough to move mountains. A mustard seed is small, almost invisible in your hand. And yet, Jesus chose that image on purpose. He was teaching something profound. It is not the size of your faith that matters. It is the quality of your faith. A small faith, when it is genuine, when it is activated, when it is spoken and believed, can move what seems impossible. Jesus was not speaking in poetry alone. He was revealing a spiritual law, a law that has crossed centuries, a law that remains active today. And maybe, right now, you are standing in front of a mountain of debt, a mountain of illness, a mountain of emotional pain, a mountain of fear about the future. It feels heavy. It feels immovable. It feels permanent. But the word comes like a breath of hope. It whispers a truth your fear does not want you to hear. Nothing is impossible when faith is activated. This is not magic. This is not fantasy. This is a spiritual force that begins to work when you decide to believe, when you choose faith over fear, when you choose trust over despair. Take a slow breath right now. Inhale deeply and exhale gently. As you breathe, imagine the mountain in front of you. See it clearly. Do not avoid it. Now imagine it beginning to move. Slowly, gently, surely. This is not imagination for escape. This is faith in action. Faith always begins on the inside before it appears on the outside. Florence used to say that faith is like a password that opens invisible doors. A password must be spoken. It must be used. When you declare the word, you are not just speaking sounds. You are releasing power. Modern science is beginning to confirm what spiritual truth has taught for centuries. Neuroscience shows that repeated thoughts reshape the brain. Your beliefs create pathways. Your words reinforce those pathways. Quantum science shows that attention and observation influence outcomes. Faith is not weak. Faith is not imaginary. Faith is a force that operates in more than one dimension. That is why what you say matters. That is why what you believe matters. Right now, I invite you to engage spiritually. Not later, not someday, now. Like this video as an act of agreement, as a quiet declaration that says, I receive this word. Subscribe to the Divine Soul channel, because every message here is a seed planted in your life, a seed of faith, a seed of hope, a seed of transformation. Take another slow breath, feel the calm, feel the assurance. You are not alone. You have never been alone. And the faith within you, even if it feels small, is enough to begin moving mountains. Faith grows when it is expressed. Faith strengthens when it is spoken. Faith becomes active when it moves from silence into sound. Many people believe in their hearts, but remain silent with their mouths. And that silence keeps faith dormant. Jesus did not say, "Whoever thinks to this mountain." He said, "Whoever says to this mountain." Words matter. The spoken word carries direction. The spoken word carries intention. The spoken word carries authority. When you speak with faith, you align your inner belief with outward action. This alignment is powerful. Florence understood this deeply. She taught that the moment you speak the word with conviction, you begin to shape reality. Not because words are magic, but because words activate belief. Belief activates behavior. Behavior changes outcomes. This is why silence cannot move mountains, but faith-filled words can. Right now, I invite you to say this slowly, either out loud or quietly within your heart. My faith moves mountains. Say it again. My faith moves mountains. Let the words settle. Let them resonate. Let them become familiar. Repetition is not weakness. Repetition is reinforcement. Neuroscience confirms this truth. When you repeat a phrase, your brain begins to recognize it as reality. New neural connections form. Old patterns begin to loosen. This is how fear loses its grip. This is how hope takes root. Faith works the same way. When you repeat faith-filled words, you are training your mind to expect a different outcome. And expectation shapes action. Now imagine the mountain again. See it standing in front of you. Notice its size. Notice its weight. Do not panic. Do not rush. Faith is calm. Faith is steady. Now speak again. My faith moves mountains. As you say it, imagine the mountain responding. Not instantly collapsing, but slowly shifting. Movement begins quietly. Transformation often starts unseen. This is how real change works. Florence taught that faith must be paired with imagination, not fantasy, but spiritual imagination. Imagination is the bridge between belief and manifestation. When you imagine with faith, you give your mind a direction to follow, and the mind follows what it sees. This principle appears again and again in Scripture. Before healing came, people were asked to see. Before provision arrived, people were asked to trust. Faith always invites vision. Take another slow breath. As you inhale, imagine peace filling your body. As you exhale, release tension and doubt. Now imagine yourself on the other side of the mountain. See relief, see freedom, see restoration. This vision is not a lie. It is preparation. Faith prepares the mind for what God is about to do. Science supports this truth. Studies show that visualization activates the same neural pathways as real experience. Your brain does not fully distinguish between imagined success and lived success. This is why athletes visualize victory. This is why leaders rehearse outcomes. Faith uses the same principle. When belief and vision work together, action follows naturally. Florence often warned people about unconscious doubt. Doubt does not always shout. Sometimes it whispers. It appears as hesitation, as delay, as maybe later. But faith is decisive. Faith chooses alignment. Alignment between thought, word, and action. This alignment creates momentum. Small steps begin to feel possible. New ideas begin to appear. Courage quietly rises. This is how mountains move, not always in one dramatic moment, but through steady, faithful progress. Right now, commit to one simple action. Not something big, not something overwhelming. Just one step, a phone call, a decision, a conversation, a moment of honesty. Faith does not replace action. Faith empowers it. Florence taught that faith without movement remains theoretical, but faith expressed through action becomes alive. As you continue listening, allow these words to sink deeper. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are in a process, and your faith, even now, is already at work. Write in the comments, "My faith moves mountains." This is not for the algorithm alone. It is for alignment. A public declaration reinforces private belief. Each time you see those words, your mind remembers the truth. Faith grows through repetition, through declaration, through practice. And slowly, almost quietly, the mountain begins to move. Faith becomes real when it touches daily life. Not just thoughts, not just words, but lived experience. Many people believe that faith belongs only in prayer, only in church, only in quiet moments. But true faith moves into everyday situations, into finances, into health, into relationships, into decisions that shape the future. Florence understood this. She taught that faith must walk where fear once ruled. She often worked with ordinary people, not celebrities, not spiritual leaders, but individuals facing very real struggles. people overwhelmed by debt, people struggling with illness, people feeling trapped and exhausted. And she taught them something simple. Faith is not about denying reality. Faith is about speaking truth into reality. Let me share a story. There was a man named Carlos. He was 35 years old. He owned a small business. For months, everything had been declining. Sales dropped sharply. Expenses increased. Fear became constant. Every morning, Carlos woke up with a heavy feeling in his chest. He wondered how long he could survive. The numbers did not look good. Logic said failure was near. But Carlos encountered the teaching of faith applied, and the words of Jesus in Matthew 17:20. For the first time, he understood that faith was not pretending. Faith was choosing a different focus. Carlos began to speak differently, not denying the challenge, but declaring a different outcome. Every day, he said the same words, "My faith moves mountains." He said them slowly. He said them calmly. He said them with intention. At first, nothing changed on the outside, but something shifted on the inside. Fear softened. Clarity increased. Confidence returned. Carlos began to think differently. Then he began to act differently. He reviewed his strategies. He made necessary changes. He reached out to new opportunities. Faith did not replace effort. Faith strengthened it. Within 3 months, the business began to recover. Sales increased. Momentum returned. What once felt impossible slowly became manageable. Carlos learned an important lesson. Faith does not cancel responsibility. Faith empowers responsibility. Now let me tell you about Anna. Anna was 28 years old. Her mountain was not financial. It was emotional. Depression had taken hold of her life. Energy disappeared. Motivation faded. Each day felt heavy. Each morning felt harder than the last. Anna believed in God, but belief felt distant. She did not know how to move forward. Then she encountered the idea of faith as practice. Not theory, not pressure, practice. Anna started small. Every morning, she paused to breathe deeply. Slow breaths, gentle breaths. As she breathed, she imagined a different future. Not perfect, just lighter. She saw herself smiling again, studying again, living again. And every day, she spoke one sentence. "My faith moves mountains." At first, it felt strange, almost uncomfortable, but repetition softened resistance. Science explains this clearly. Thoughts influence emotions. Emotions influence behavior. Behavior reshapes experience. As Anna repeated faith-filled words, new mental patterns began to form. She did not wake up cured. She did not feel instant joy, but she felt movement, slow movement, gentle progress. After weeks of consistency, Anna returned to her studies. Months later, she completed the course she once abandoned. Her testimony was simple. Faith gave my life back, not through force, not through pressure, but through patience and alignment. Now consider Maria. Maria was 42 years old. She worked as a teacher. Her mountain was debt. Bills accumulated quietly. Interest grew silently. Stress followed her everywhere. She carried shame without speaking it aloud. Maria discovered the teaching of faith as declaration, not denial, declaration. Each morning before work, she spoke the same words. "My faith moves mountains." She did not ignore the debt. She did not avoid responsibility. She combined faith with action. She reviewed finances. She looked for opportunities. She remained open to change. Over time, something unexpected happened. A promotion opportunity appeared. Her income increased. The debt slowly disappeared. What once felt permanent lost its power. Maria understood something powerful. Faith does not create money. Faith creates clarity, courage, and opportunity. These stories share one truth. Faith is not mystical escape. Faith is practical alignment. When belief, words, and action work together, change follows. Not always instantly, but steadily. And if it worked for them, it can work for you. You may be facing a different mountain, but the principle remains the same. Faith activates movement. Pause for a moment. Breathe slowly. Picture your own mountain again. Notice how it feels now compared to when you first imagined it. Faith softens fear. Faith creates space. And space allows movement. Write in the comments again. My faith moves mountains. Each repetition strengthens belief. Each declaration builds alignment. You are not repeating words. You are reinforcing truth. And your faith, right now, is still working. As faith grows, it often meets resistance. Not always from the outside, but from within. Many people believe in faith, but unknowingly carry ideas that block its flow. These ideas are subtle. They feel familiar. They sound reasonable, but they weaken faith quietly. Florence often spoke about this. She called them hidden obstacles, beliefs that operate beneath awareness. Let us look at some of the most common ones. The first belief is this: only spiritual leaders can move mountains. This belief sounds humble, but it creates distance. Jesus did not say, only teachers, pastors, or prophets can speak to mountains. He said, whoever says, faith was never meant to be exclusive. It was meant to be accessible. Faith is not a title, it is a choice. The second belief is, faith must be complicated to be effective. This belief creates pressure. It makes people feel unqualified. But Jesus chose a mustard seed for a reason. He did not say, faith the size of a mountain moves mountains. He said, faith the size of a seed. Simple faith, honest faith, consistent faith. Complexity often hides insecurity. Faith thrives in simplicity. The third belief is this: if God wants it, it will happen without me. This belief sounds spiritual, but it removes responsibility. Faith is not passive waiting. Faith is active cooperation. Florence taught that faith moves when we move with it. When belief remains inactive, it stays theoretical. But when belief becomes action, it becomes real. Another hidden obstacle is impatience. Many people expect immediate results. When change does not appear quickly, they assume faith failed. But faith often works beneath the surface before it shows itself. Seeds do not grow overnight. Roots form before fruit appears. Faith works the same way. When you feel nothing is happening, something is happening. Another obstacle is inconsistency. Faith is not built in one moment. It is built through repetition, through daily alignment, through repeated declarations, through continued action. One day of belief cannot undo years of fear, but daily faith can slowly reshape everything. Florence often reminded people, do not speak faith once and doubt the rest of the day. Words must be consistent, not perfect, but aligned. This does not mean ignoring emotions. It means choosing direction. You may feel fear and still choose faith. You may feel tired and still declare truth. Faith does not deny emotion. Faith guides it. Now take a moment to reflect. Where might faith be leaking in your life? Is it through doubt? Through impatience? Through inconsistency? There is no judgment here, only awareness. Awareness restores power. Take a slow breath. As you inhale, invite clarity. As you exhale, faith grows pressure. Best in calm soil. Another key principle Florence taught was gratitude. Gratitude anchors faith in the present. When you give thanks before results appear, you signal trust. Gratitude is not pretending everything is fine. It is recognizing that God is already at work, even when you cannot see it yet. Try this quietly within yourself. Thank you for what is already moving. Say it again. Thank you for what is already changing. Gratitude shifts focus. Focus shifts energy. Energy influences action. Faith and gratitude work together. Now consider this. Faith must be protected. Just as seeds need protection while they grow, faith needs boundaries. Be mindful of what you consume, what you listen to, what you repeat. Fear grows through repetition too. So choose carefully. Choose words that strengthen. Choose thoughts that support. Choose actions that align. Faith does not require perfection. It requires direction. And direction creates momentum. Pause again. Picture your mountain one more time. Notice something. It may not be gone yet, but it no longer feels as immovable. Faith has shifted your posture, from fear to possibility. Write once more in the comments. My faith moves mountains. Each time you say it, you reinforce alignment. You are not forcing belief. You are practicing it. And practice creates strength. Faith grows stronger when it is carried forward, not just felt in a moment, but lived day by day. At this point, something important has already happened. Your attention has slowed. Your breath has deepened. Your heart has opened. This is the space where faith works best. Faith does not rush. Faith does not panic. Faith moves with quiet confidence. Jesus never pressured people into faith. He invited them. Florence understood this invitation. She believed faith must be chosen freely to become powerful. You cannot force belief, but you can nurture it, and nurturing faith is a daily practice. Every day, you choose what you focus on. Every day, you choose what you repeat. Every day, you choose what you believe about yourself and your future. These choices shape your life. Faith does not remove challenges. Faith changes how you walk through them. Right now, pause again. Take a slow, deep breath. As you inhale, feel strength entering your body. As you exhale, release the weight you have been carrying. Faith lightens the load before it removes it. Now return to the words one final time. Say them slowly. Say them with intention. My faith moves mountains. Let this sentence rest within you. This is not a slogan. It is a posture of trust, a posture of courage, a posture of alignment. From this posture, decisions become clearer. From this posture, fear loses authority. From this posture, hope becomes practical. Florence taught that every declaration of faith plants a seed. Seeds do not grow because we watch them. They grow because conditions are right. Faith creates those conditions. Consistency, patience, gratitude, action. These are the nutrients of faith. Do not measure your progress by speed. Measure it by direction. Are you moving forward, even slowly? Are you thinking differently than before? Are you speaking with more awareness? These are signs of movement. Mountains rarely disappear all at once. They shift, they crack, they lower, and one day you look back and realize they no longer stand in your way. Faith works quietly until it becomes undeniable. As this message comes to a close, remember this: faith is not a gift for a few. It is a spiritual right for all. You do not need perfect belief. You do not need flawless confidence. You only need willingness. Willingness to trust. Willingness to speak. Willingness to act. If you are listening right now, you already have what you need. Before we finish, I invite you to one final act of alignment. Like this video as a sign of agreement. Subscribe to the Divine Soul channel as a decision to continue walking in faith, and write in the comments, "My faith moves mountains." This is not for visibility alone. It is for activation. Words spoken with intention carry weight, and as you move forward from this moment, carry this truth with you. No matter the size of the challenge, no matter the weight of the mountain, faith, even small, even quiet, is enough to begin moving it. Stay present, stay consistent, stay aligned, and prepare your heart, because in the next message, we will go even deeper into another spiritual key that opens unexpected paths. Your journey does not end here. It continues, and your faith is already at work.